So today we're going to be starting the basics of geometry. So chapter 1. All of the basics of geometry is about is we've got two big ideas that we're going to be going over here. And so if we look at these two big ideas, let's discuss this. Your job is to be able to list and identify geometric shapes in order to measure and compare their relationships. We're going to go over some basic terminology, some basic ideas like line segments, angles, lines, rays, so that we can compare their relationships together. The biggest thing about geometry that we're going to be doing over the next several lessons and basically over the entire course is how do I relate thing here to thing here? How can I take a measurement from this end of the spectrum to relate it to this thing over here? And so we need to understand some basic terminologies to do that. Our second goal for this chapter is to be able to investigate those relationships through what we call postulates and theorems in order to explain the phenomena and design solutions. So after you've seen these relationships, you're going to be able to dig a little deeper. Let's take this thing that we know over here and work our way over to this end of the spectrum, this end of the picture or diagram, using things called postulates and theorems. These are proven relationships or known relationships without needing of proof that other people have gone through. And the really popular ones we'll highlight here and we'll say, hey, we can use these postulates and theorems as the reason to get from A to B. Awesome. We talk about how we're moving things in the Cartesian plane. This is a big thing on how we measure things. And we've got some chapter goals that we want to be able to. So by the end of chapter 1, you should be able to do things like sketch the intersection of lines and planes. Sketching is a big thing. When we give you a scenario, we need to be able to sketch. Use things like the segment addition postulate. One of those postulates we talk about, we're going to learn about this one and then use it to prove things. Find perimeters of polygons in the coordinate plane, and then among the other things. So that's going to lead us to our first thing. Now, the first thing that we have is going to be a vocabulary check. It's asking you to go through on that previous page and list anything that, as of right now, you're not aware of. So let's say you don't know what an intersection is. You don't know what a plane is. You don't know when the midpoint or bisect is. Write down any of the words you don't know and take a guess right now. Later on, when we actually go through it, what you're going to do is look back on this and write down what it actually means and see how close your guesses are. One of the big things that students go through in geometry is they convince themselves that they don't know any of the terminology. And realistically, you're going to see that your guesses are pretty good. So if you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead and look at that previous page and write down the terms you don't know. Write down a good guess as to what they're doing right now. And so that is the introduction to our basics of geometry. There you go.